At that stage, the software moves from evolution servicing. During the servicing phase, the software is still useful and used, but only small tactical changes are made to it. During this stage, the company is usually considering how the software can be replaced. In the final stage phase out, the software may still be used, but no further changes are being implemented. Users have to work around any problems that they discover. Now let us say evolution process. Software evolution processes vary depending on the type of the software being maintained. The development processes used in an organization and the skills of the people involved. In some organizations, evolution may be an informal process where changes represents mostly come from conservation between the system users and developers. In other companies, it is a formalized process with structured documentation produced at each stage in the process. Below figure shows an overview of evolution process. The process includes the fundamental activities of change analysis, release planning, system implementation, and release a system to customer. The cost and impact of these changes are assessed to see how much of the system is affected by the change and how much it might cost to implement the change. If the proposed changes are accepted, a new release of the system is planned. During release planning, all proposed changes, fault repair, adaptation, and new functionality are considered. A decision is then made on which changes to implement in the next version of the system. The changes are implemented and validated, and a new version of the system is released. The process then iterates with a new set of changes proposed for the next release. Ideally, the change implementation stage of this process should modify the system specification, design, and implementation to reflect the changes to the system. New requirements that reflect the system changes are proposed, analyzed, and validated. The system components are redesigned and implemented, and the system is retested. If appropriate, prototyping of the proposed changes may be carried out as a part of change analysis process. In these cases, the need to make the change quickly means that you may not be able to follow the formal change analysis process. Rather than modify the requirements and design, you make an emergency fix to the program to solve the immediate problem. It is as shown in the below figure. However, the danger is that the requirements, the software design, and the code become inconsistent. Although you may intend to document the change in the requirements and design additional emergency fixes, the software may then be needed. These take priority over documentation. Eventually, the original change is forgotten and the system documentation and code are never relined. Program evolution dynamics. Program evolution dynamics is the study of system change. In the 1970s and 1980s, Lehman and Bill Eddy in 1985 carried out several empirical studies of the system change with a view to understanding more about characteristics of software evolution. The work continued in the 1990s as Lehman and others investigated the significance of feedback in evolution process. Lehman 1996, Lehman et al. 1998, Lehman et al. 2001. From these studies, they proposed Lehman's laws concerning system change. See the figure. Now let us see software maintenance. Software maintenance is the general process of changing a system after it has been delivered. The term is usually applied to custom software in which separate development groups are involved before and after delivery. The changes made to the software may be simple changes to correct coding errors, more extensive changes to correct design errors, or significant enhancements to correct specification errors are Accommodate new requirements. Changes are implemented by modifying existing system components and where necessary by adding new components to the system. There are three different types of software maintenance: fault repairs. Coding errors are usually relatively cheap to correct. Design errors are more expensive and they may involve rewriting several program components. Requirements errors are the most expensive to repair because of the extensive system redesign which may be necessary. Environmental adaptation. This type of maintenance is required when some aspect of the system's environment such as the hardware, the platform operating system and the other support software changes. The application system must be modified to adapt it to cope with these environment changes. Functionality addition. This type of maintenance is necessary when the system requirements change in response to organizational or business change. The scale of the changes required to the software is often much greater than for the other types of maintenance. It is usually more expensive to add functionality after a system is in operation than it is to implement the same functionality during development. The reasons for this are team stability. After a system has been delivered, it is normal for the development team to be broken up and for people to work on new projects. The new team or the individual responsible for system maintenance do not understand the system or the background to system design decisions. They need to spend time understanding the existing system before implementing changes to it. Poor development practice. The contract to maintain a system is usually separate from the system development contract. The maintenance contract may be given to the different company rather than the original system developer. This factor, along with the lack of the team stability, means that there is no incentive for a development team to write maintainable software. If a development team can cut corners to save efforts during development, it is worthwhile for them to do so, even if this means that the software is more difficult to change in future. Staff skills. Maintenance staff are often relatively inexperienced and unfamiliar with the application domain. Maintenance has a poor image among software engineers. It is seen as a less skilled process than system development and is often allocated to the most junior staff. Furthermore, old systems may be written in absolute programming languages. The maintenance staff may not have much experience of development in these languages and must learn these languages to maintain the system. Program age and structure. As changes are made to programs, their structure tends to degrade consecutively. As programs age, they become harder to understand and change. Some systems have been developed without modern software engineering techniques. They may never have been well structured and were perhaps optimized for efficiency rather than understandability. System documentation may be lost or inconsistent. Old systems may not have been subject to stringent configuration management, so time is often wasted finding the right version of the system components to change. Now let us see maintenance prediction. Managers hate surprises, especially if these result is unexpectedly high cost. You should therefore try to predict what system changes might be proposed and what parts of the systems are likely to be the most difficult to maintain. You should also try to estimate an overall maintenance cost for a system in a given time period. The below figure shows these predictions and associated questions. To evaluate the relationship between a system and its environment, you should assess the number and complexity of the system interfaces. The larger the number of interfaces and the more complex these interfaces, the more likely it is that interface changes will be required as new requirements are proposed. The number of inherently volatile system requirements that reflect organizational policies and procedures are likely to be more volatile than requirements that are based on stable domain characteristics. statistics. The business processes in which the system is used. As business processes evolve, they generate system changes, change requests. The more business processes that use a system, the more the demand for system change. Metrics that can be used for assessing maintainability are as follows. Number of requests for corrective maintenance. An increase in the number of bug and failure reports may indicate the more errors are being introduced into the program than are being repaired during the maintenance process. This may indicate a decline in maintainability. Average time required for impact analysis. This reflects the number of program components that are affected by the change request. If this time increases, it implies more and more components are affected and maintainability is decreasing. Average time taken to implement a change request. This is not the same as the time for impact analysis, although it may collaborate with it. This is the amount of time that you need to modify the system and its documentation after you have assessed which components are affected. An increase in the time needed to implement a change may indicate a decline in maintainability. Number of outstanding change requests. An increase in this number over time may imply a decline in maintainability. Now let us see the software engineering. Re-engineering may involve re-documenting the system, refactoring the system architecture, translating programs to a modern programming language, and modifying and updating the structure and values of the system's data. The functionality of the software is not changed, and normally you should try to avoid making major changes to the system architecture. There are two important benefits from re-engineering rather than replacement. Reduced risk. There is a high risk in redeveloping business critical software. Errors may be made in the system specification, or there may be development problems. Delays in introducing the new software may mean that business is lost and extra costs are incurred. Reduced cost. The cost of the re-engineering may be significantly less than the cost of developing new software. Ulrich 1990 quotes an example of a commercial system for which the re-implementation cost were estimated at $50 million. The system was successfully re-engineered for $12 million. I suspect that with modern software technology, the relative cost of the re-implementation is probably less than this, but will still considerably exceed the cost of re-engineering. The below figure is a general model of the re-engineering process. The input to the process is a legacy program and the output is an improved and restructured version of the same program. The activities in this re-engineering process are as follows. Source code translation. Using a translational tool, the program is converted from an old programming language to a more modern version of the same language or to a different language. Reverse engineering. The program is analyzed and information extracted from it. This helps to document its organization and functionality. Again, this process is usually completely automated. Program structure improvement. The control structure of the program is analyzed and modified to make it easier to read and understand. This can be partially automated, but some manual invention is usually required. Program modularization. Related parts of the programs are grouped together and where appropriate redundancy is removed. In some cases, this stage may involve architectural refactoring. Example, a system that uses several different data stores may be refactored to use a single repository. This is a manual process. Data re-engineering. The data processed by the program is changed to reflect program changes. This may mean redefining database schemas and converting existing database to new structure. You should usually also clean up the data. This involves finding and correcting mistakes, removing duplicate records, etc. Tools are available to support data re-engineering. Now let us see preventive maintenance by refactoring. Refactoring is the process of making improvements to a program to slow down degradation through change. It means modifying a program to improve its structure, to reduce its complexity, or to make it easier to understand. Refactoring is sometimes considered to be limited to object-oriented development, but the principles can be applied to any development approach. When you refactor a program, you should not add functionality but should concentrate on program involvement. You can therefore think of refactoring a preventative maintenance that reduces the problem of future further change. Bad smells that can be improved through refactoring include duplicate code. The same of very similar code may be included at different places in a program. This can be removed and implemented as a single method or function that is called as required. Long methods. If a method is too long, it should be redesigned as a number of shorter methods. Switch case statements. These often involve duplication where the switch depends on the type of some value. The switch statement may be scattered around a program. In object-oriented languages, you can often use polymorphism, achieve the same polymorphism to achieve the same thing. Data clumping. Data clumps occur when the same group of data items, fields in classes, parameters in methods reoccur in several places in a program. These can often be replaced with an object encapsulating all of the data. Speculative generality. This occurs when developers include generality in a program in case it is required in future. This can often simply be removed. Now let us see legacy system management. Most organizations usually have a portfolio of legacy systems that they use with a limited budget for maintaining and upgrading these systems. They have to decide how to get the best return on their investment. This involves making a realistic assessment of their legacy systems and then deciding on the most appropriate strategy for evolving these systems. There are four strategic options. First, scrap the system completely. This opinion should be chosen when the system is not making an effective contribution to business processes. This commonly occurs when the business processes have changed since the system was installed and are no longer reliant on the legacy system. Leave the system unchanged and continue with regular maintenance. This option should be chosen when the system is still required but is fairly stable and the system users make relatively few change requests. Re-engineer the system to improve its maintainability. This opinion should be chosen when the system quality has been degraded by change and where a new change to the system is still being proposed. This process may include developing new interface components so that the original can work with other newer systems. Replace all or part of the system with a new system. This opinion should be chosen when factors such as new hardware mean that the old system cannot continue in operation or where off-the-shelf systems would allow the new system to be developed at a reasonable cost. In many cases, an evolutionary replacement strategy can be adopted in which major system components are replaced by off-the-shelf systems with other components reused whenever possible. There are four clusters of the systems: low quality, low business value. Keeping these systems in operation with the expensive and the rate of the turn to the business will be fairly small. These systems should be scrapped. Low quality, high business value. These systems are making an important business contribution, so they cannot be scrapped. However, their low quality means that it is expensive to maintain them. These systems should be re-engineered to improve their quality. They may be replaced if a suitable off-the-shelf system is available. High quality, low business value. There are the systems that don't contribute much to the business, but which may not be very expensive to maintain. It is not worth replacing these systems. So normal system maintenance may be continued if expensive changes are not required and the system hardware remains in use. If expensive changes become necessary, the software should be scrapped. High quality, high business value. These systems have to be kept in operation. However, their high quality means that you don't have to invest in transformation or system replacement. Normal system maintenance should be continued.